All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Left Hand Brewing Company, and they're out of Longmont, Colorado, and this is their Candy Cane Nitro, and this is the 2023 release. So they're calling this one an Imperial Peppermint Milk Stout, and it is in a Nitro can. It comes in at 9.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, this can is just over 2 months old, but it also has a Best By date of May 25th of 2024, so we're just under 6 months away from that date, so we should be fine according to Left Hand. Now, this is the newest Nitro beer that they have released, and it's basically their fall/winter seasonal, and yeah, I'm here for it. So they do have some information on the can. It says Imperial Stout with peppermint added, and they have the ingredients. I love that Left Hand list the ingredients. It says Rocky Mountain water, malted barley, lactose, dextrose, flaked oats, hops, peppermint, and yeast. It contains milk, aka lactose. And yeah, I'm here for it. So we have the hashtag proper glassware to some extent. So I'm going to pour this one, and we'll talk about this one in Left Hand in general. But I really like the label on this, honestly. This is one of the better labels from their beer. So I always call Left Hand the king of the Nitro beers here in the US, but I'm going to have to rein that in and kind of walk that back a little bit. I think they're the king of the Nitro Stouts here in the US. The reason being is a lot of the beers that I've had in their Nitro series that aren't stouts, like some of their sours and some of their fruited beers and some of their seasonals, just really didn't do it for me, and I feel they're a bit lacking, where this, on the other hand, I am kind of looking forward to a little bit more because it is an Imperial Stout. Now, there's the cascading effect, obviously. It looks beautiful. But, you know, their stouts are usually, I mean, they're iconic. Their Left Hand Milk Stout is just, you know, one of the classic American craft beers, especially when it comes to Nitro. A lot of the variants of that beer are fantastic. This is going to go probably two ways. Either I'm going to love it or I'm going to hate it. Mint beers, specifically mint stouts, they either hit or miss, typically, like either too heavy on the mint or maybe not enough mint, but I'm curious to see how this one is going to be. So in the Left Hand glass, that looks about as perfect as it can be. It just looks exactly what you want out of a Nitro beer. It has that beautiful, just over a finger of a khaki creamy head, the khaki colored creamy head, I should say. It's not pitch black in the glass, probably going to look pitch black on camera. In person, more of a dark brown. Here, there's lighter brown hits. Hold it up to the light. It looks more of like a root beer than anything, but it looks absolutely beautiful, let's be honest. So we'll see. I hope that this is delicious, because that's the whole reason why you hopefully buy beers, is to enjoy them. We'll see. Nice. So the peppermint isn't too overwhelming in the nose. Yeah, it's a kind of like peppermint bark, and that's, when I picked this one up, that's what I was hoping for. It's like peppermint bark in a 9.5% Imperial Milk Stout in a Nitro can. That's what I want, and that's what I'm getting. The peppermint's not overdone. There's a nice, like, sweeter dark chocolate, a little bit of roasted malt, maybe a touch of a coffee roast, a touch of like an earthiness, probably from the hops. Doesn't smell like it's 9.5%. Yeah, it just smells really, really well done. Here's hoping it tastes delicious. Cheers, everyone. You know what? I like that. First sip, first impression. That's nice. I will say though, it's more subdued with the flavor. It's a lighter flavor for 9. After that first sip, I just realized this is 9.5%. I think you get brownie points for that, because that first sip, there's no fucking way it tastes like 9.5%. Another sip. So body on this one might be a bit thin for 9.5%. It's like medium, maybe a touch over medium body. I'd like to see it firm, higher side of medium, lower side of low full. It's not. So it's definitely thin. And because it's Nitro, I feel like Nitro always has like a thin kind of feeling to it, so probably the reason. The mouthfeel, however, is exactly what you want out of a Nitro. It's smooth. It's incredibly soft on the palate. It's super creamy. A lot of people have asked me, you know, why do Nitro beers, you know, feel like they're flat? It's because they use 70% nitrogen and 30% CO2. So it's lightly carbonated to begin with, and the Nitro produces that, you know, the small bubbles to enhance the creaminess of like the head and everything. So it just feels, it tastes like it's flat compared to normal beer because it's less carbonated. So a lot of people be like, oh, it's flat. It's not really flat. It's just lightly carbonated. So it kind of feels like it's flat to some degree. And that's kind of what you're getting here. But I know that going into Nitro, like if I've never had a Nitro beer and I didn't know anything about it, I'd be like, yeah, that's flat. 100%. But knowing what a nitro brings to the table, I'm always prepared when I drink one or I review one. So it doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. So body thin, mouthfeel, exactly what it should be. The taste, what I love about this beer is that the peppermint to me is understated, but that works well with this beer. So it's omnipresent. It's all over my palate, the peppermint, but it's the underlying kind of characteristic and not the predominant one. So right at the forefront, I get a little bit of roasted, more of like a toasty, but like a toasted roasted malt character. So a little bit of a coffee, like a light coffee roast. There's dark chocolate into like a 50-60% cacao bar. A touch of like a caramel or like a caramelized sugar of some sort. Not really toffee, maybe a little brown sugar. That's all at the forefront, all the malty goodness. There's a very slight like dark fruit, like maybe like a raisin. A little bit of raisin, maybe like a cherry. As it passes through though, what happens is there's this nice earthiness on the back of the palate. Imagine it's coming from the house where there's like a mild like hop character that's earthy. And this beer isn't super sweet to begin with, which is nice. So it kind of balances out. Now, it does lean a little bit sweet, like 60 to 40 in terms of the sweetness to the bitterness. There's really no dryness to speak of here. It's more of like a mild bitterness. So it's not overly sweet, but it could be sweet for some. But here's the thing, it's 9.5%. It's probably going to be sweet. But on the back of the palate, the peppermint kind of intensifies slightly. So what's lingering on my palate on the finish is like a peppermint bark. Like you're getting, again, peppermint, a little bit of like a sweeter dark chocolate, and a little bit of that earthiness in there. And it's all combining for a beautiful finish. And again, 9.5%, I can't taste it. A little bit of warming in the chest now as I've taken, half dozen sips. But for me, this drink's like, it's like 7.5, 8. Definitely hides the alcohol well. I'm not in love with this beer. I don't think it's like amazing. It's certainly not the best they've ever produced for me personally. But again, I thought it was going one of two ways. Not really going to like it, and I like it. I could see a lot of people not liking this. Here's the thing though, and this is what I'll say for any beer in general. There's a lot of people who will, you see it on like a lot of on-tap check-ins or things of that nature, but they'll be like, I hate mint. They'll pick up a beer like this, they'll drink and say, too minty. If you don't like mint in beers, but mint in general, isn't any like mint too much mint for you for the most part? Like if I hated mint, I'm not picking this up. And I'm certainly not reviewing it unless somebody asked for it, and maybe I would be blown away. But I see too many of those check-ins on tap, which is why I only use on tap to really keep track of what I drink and check out what my friends are drinking. Because it'd be like, oh, this beer's too nitro stouty. Like what the fuck does that even mean? I've seen some dumb check-ins. So my advice to you is if you do not like mint, don't pick this up. If you do enjoy mint beers when they're more subdued, give this a try. I'm not saying you'll love it, but I'm saying I think you might like it. Is that fair? I think that's fair. So again, hides the alcohol well, mouthfeel's fantastic, body's a bit thin, the flavors are a little bit more subdued, but still nice. I think the finish, the two key things for me are the mouthfeel and the finish, and I think they're pretty damn good, and it hides the alcohol well. So Left Hand Brewing Company's Candy Cane Nitro, the 2023 release, I'm going to give that a high 4 out of 5 and go 4.1. And I did see the Untapped rating. I think before I reviewed this one, a couple days ago I saw it. I don't know what it is now. But I think the Untapped rating for this was like 3.43. I don't know. Maybe this is a 3.43 beer for a lot of people. For me, significantly better. But I like mint beers, especially when they're well done. I got to be honest. I've given Left Hand some shit over the last couple of years with some of their nitro beers. Some of them have just been drain pours for me and not great. I think this is good. I think this is a well-made beer. Not going to be for everyone, but I think it's well-made. Price point availability. In my neck of the woods, this is a $10.99 a 4-pack. I think I paid like $2.69 or $2.79 for that can. Great deal for a 9.5%, candy cane or Imperial Peppermint Milk Stout in a nitro can. Like, it's a great price point. Probably will range anywhere from like 11 to 13 or 14 bucks for everybody out there. So yeah, even if it's $14 a 4-pack, I think that's a pretty fucking good deal, if I'm being honest with you. And availability is Left Hand. This is their newest seasonal. So if you get why can't I? I say this in almost every review, but it's probably more me not being able to speak English properly as opposed to me getting hammered because I've only drank like 3-4 ounces of this. Let me just say, you don't come here to listen to me speak English properly. No, you don't. I hope you don't, because you're at the wrong place. But anyway, availability. Wherever you see Left Hand, you should see this, although Chaz, a viewer of the channel, a couple other people will always chime in and be like, I can't find that here. So at the end of the day, I really don't know with distro. I think Left Hand does have a beer finder on their website. You just type in your zip code and it'll tell you where you can find their beer, and you specifically can pick out whatever beer and do it. So do that if you're struggling to find this one and you want to try it. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review. This is another holiday beer that I've reviewed this month, and I'm glad I picked this one up, and I'm even happier that it didn't disappoint, because again, it was 50-50, and I'm glad it went to the 50% positive side of things as opposed to the negative. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.